Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Audio Fanfics and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is, what if Naruto created ripples that changed everything? Harem, Hinata, Ino, Tenten, Temari, May, Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Inside a modestly small, lightly furnished, altogether nondescript apartment sat Hitaki Kakashi at his desk. It had been another mostly sleepless night, same as the last. He had woken up at 3 in the morning after only 3 hours of sleep. Truth be told, Kakashi had not enjoyed a good night's rest in 13 years. He did not lament this fact, however. Subsisting on little sleep was an advantageous trait for a shinobi and it let him spend his time more efficiently. Tonight, quite a bit of work sat before him. He really shouldn't have procrastinated, he knew, but how could he resist the allure of reading Ika Ika Paradise? A tad warm in here, he thought, pulling at the collar of his shirt. Eyeing the window to his left, he rose from his seat, lifted the window, and leisurely returned to his seat. Enough stalling. This evaluation is due at daybreak. He turned his attention towards the papers in front of him. 3 of them, separate from the large stack on the right end of the desk, bore a name each: Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. Starting today, they were to be his team. He didn't contemplate the matter too hard. The third Hokage was wise and invested enough in this generation of genin that Kakashi trusted his judgment implicitly. The third thought that these 3 would be well suited to Kakashi and Kakashi did not disagree. He would train them to the best of his abilities. Provided, of course, that they passed. While he didn't like to pass judgment without evidence, Kakashi reasoned that statistically speaking, they had very little chance of success. Some Junin, Asuma, called him a bit harsh for this, but Kakashi had a different perspective. Why should anyone who cannot grasp his one requirement be allowed to wield the power that comes with being a shinobi? It would be like giving a knife to a child. No one would blame the child, they would blame the idiot who gave them a deadly weapon. But maybe these children were different. Sasuke was, with one notable exception, the last survivor of the Uchiha massacre, and Kakashi had learned in an emergency meeting a few nights ago that Naruto, who had seemed hopeless despite excellent genetics, had managed to learn a B-rank ninjutsu and utterly flatten a Chunin instructor. Both came from tragic circumstances and both had the potential for greatness. As for the third teammate, Kakashi's eye caught a sudden movement in the documents on his desk and immediately held down the 2 profiles he'd been inspecting. Wind passed through the opened window. The third paper fluttered through the air, landing face down on the desk, while the topmost papers from the stack at the edge of the desk were scattered on the floor. I suppose this is why people use paperweights. Kakashi sighed, bending down to pick up the documents, but stopped as he examined the nearest one. After a moment, he took a knife from a nearby pouch, drew a minor slit across his finger, and began forming hand seals. Kuchio's no jutsu, summoning technique, he muttered, planting his palm on the floor. Accompanied by a puff of smoke, 8 dogs materialized in front of him. Yo! Greeted Pakun from atop Bull's head. Hello, Pakun, replied Kakashi. Would you please wake the other Junin and alert the Hokage? Tell them to meet me in the main Junin lounge in 5. Pakun nodded and the hounds dispersed, rapidly bounding out of the window. The papers fluttered idly. For a second there, I thought you'd be late to your own meeting, Asuma remarked, grinning as he entered the lounge. Kakashi waved at his friend. Well, this is a bit important. I don't think we'd have time to get sidetracked. It better be, said Kurenai, plodding groggily towards them. She rubbed at her eye with one hand, accenting the bags under them. Kurenai, who had only been recently promoted to Junin, was still not quite used to Kakashi's sleep schedule. Good morning, she added with a yawn. Kurenai-san. Kakashi nodded in a welcome. Hey, Kurenai, said Asuma, waving in a wide arc. Hello, Asuma, she replied, a smile encroaching upon her lips. It retreated as she returned her attention to Kakashi. Why did you have Bull wake me? He has the loudest bark. I thought we were being invaded. Bull likes ladies, Kakashi explained as if it were obvious. Come now, Kurenai-san, that's no way to act, said Guy, startling Kurenai as he appeared behind her. You're a lovely young rose. You're in the springtime of your youth. This is the time to take life by the reins and ride as fast as you can. He finished with a booming laugh. Guy-san, Kurenai uttered, turning around, why are you here? Isn't this meeting for the Junin who are leading new Genin teams? There are extenuating circumstances, Kakashi explained. It'll all be explained momentarily. I would hope that you have a good reason for waking us at this hour, came the soft rasp of the third Hokage as he entered, smiling and looking completely rested. What concerns you, Kakashi? Kakashi nodded. I was reviewing the team I had been assigned as per your command, Hokage-sama, when I came across this. He held up a folder with the words, New Genin roster. Asuma raised an eyebrow, idly pulling out a cigarette from his flak jacket's pouch. We all got one, Kakashi. Do you procrastinate so much that you didn't notice until tonight, or is there something more? Kakashi pushed on. I believe that the rosters need to be restructured. Kurenai and Asuma puffed up in anticipation of their respective frustrated sigh, but Hiruzen raised a hand and they were still. Kakashi, he said gently, I reviewed those rosters myself. Do you believe I have misplaced my judgment? Kakashi gave a light shake of his head. No, sir. I normally acquiesce to your wisdom, but I believe that I have a perspective that you may not have examined. You often seem to think you do, returned the third jocularly, putting his pipe to his mouth. He gestured, beckoning Kakashi to continue. Don't worry. This won't require any major shifting. It only requires one substitution. As a matter of fact, I propose that my team consist of Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, and Hyuga Hinata. A brief silence. Kurenai looked first to Guy as she realized why he had been called, then to the Hokage, who remained silent, before speaking up. But Hinata has been assigned to my team. Asuma's gaze jumped from his friend to the woman he'd been spending some time with lately. Though they were placid, Asuma recognized the looks in both their eyes quite well. First the invitation, then the return fire. This'll be a messy one. Yes, I know, said Kakashi. But I believe she should be on mine. Kurenai's brow furrowed by the smallest amount. Why? My team is composed of trackers. Yours is composed of the best in the class, the worst in the class, and the book smart one, Kakashi interrupted. I understand the rationale very well. We use it all the time when selecting genin. But consider this. He pulled Hinata's transcript from the folder. Hinata is of the prestigious Hyuga clan. She has great potential, especially for taijutsu, but is, according to Iruka-san's reports, very shy and unsure of herself. He exchanged the paper in his hand for the file on Sasuke. We all know the story behind Sasuke. He's very talented and has great room to grow. If his Sharingan develops, he will have access to incredible genjutsu ability, in addition to all of the Sharingan's other gifts. Kakashi drew Naruto's file. And of course, there is Naruto. Naruto has a great power within him. And no indication that he can use it, Kurenai cut in. Did he not flatten Mizuki? Kakashi returned, silencing her. But Naruto is not why I am here. I believe that Hinata would provide a good balance to Team 7. The current third member of Team 7 is to be Haruno Sakura, but I believe that she would do best in your care, Kurenai-san. She has the ability to become a fantastic sensor ninja and would do well in your tracking squad. But she also displays powerful chakra molding potential, especially as regards genjutsu, Kurenai responded, then immediately regretted it as she predicted the next words from Kakashi's mouth. Asuma tensed, having seen her error as well. Kakashi flashed his trademark one-eyed smile. Well, Kurenai-san, he said slowly, and she hated how it seemed like he was savoring it. Shouldn't you, our resident genjutsu specialist, be her teacher, in that case? Before she could make it apparent that she did not have a retort, Kakashi continued, or are you afraid of having both of Konoha's powerful eyes under my command? For a split second, Kurenai looked outraged, but Kakashi chuckled. I'm joking, of course. Guy has Hinata's cousin on his team. Guy, what do you think? Guy looked confused for a split second, apparently having forgotten he was called here personally, then returned to reality. I'm sure that any cousin of my adorable Neji will do fine in any team. He said, composing himself, but if I had to guess, Kakashi's team would be best for her. He's just saying that so he can have another game for him and his rival to compete in. Kurenai barked, and it's all moot anyway. Kakashi has never even passed a team, why should he get his way? Every team has potential. Kurenai, Hiruzen spoke softly, giving her a sidelong glance. She froze, then bowed her head. I have considered both your arguments and have come to a decision. He took a puff from his pipe that seemed to last forever. Henceforth, I am reassigning Hyuga Hinata to Team 7 and Haruno Sakura to Team 8. I will send word to Iruka before the announcement of the rosters. Kakashi bowed and said, thank you, Hokage-sama. After a moment, Kurenai followed suit. Unnoticed, Asuma breathed a sigh of relief. How about we all get some sleep? You'll be taking command of new teams, after all, said the third, strolling out of the lounge. Not me. I'm going to run 100 laps around Konoha, declared Guy, striking a pose. Care to join me, Kakashi? I've still got some things to do, Kakashi said, waving him off. Your loss. This just means I'll be better prepared for our next bout. Guy raced off, laughing to himself. Kakashi chuckled as he began to leave. Of course, the things he had to do included only reading Ika Ika Paradise and maybe making some miso soup with eggplant, but he didn't feel like racing around the village at this hour. He gave a small glance back to Kurenai, who had been approached by Asuma. I hope this was worth it, he mused, and continued his exit. Asuma casually flicked the butt of his cigarette out the window. So, want to grab a late-night snack, or something? You don't seem to be up to sleeping at the moment, he said. When her sour expression didn't fade, he put a hand on her shoulder. Look, don't beat yourself up about it. Kakashi is a legendary wordsmith. I'm sure Sakura will be fine on your team. Kurenai's lips curved upwards. Yeah, probably. She caught Asuma's eye. What was that you were saying about a late-night snack? Asuma grinned. A breeze blew in from the window. Uzumaki Naruto sat in the main academy classroom, a miserable expression adorning his bruised face. It had all started out so well. He had put on his forehead protector for the first time as a true genin, he was about to receive his team assignment, and his crush Haruno Sakura had been looking like she wanted to sit with him. Fast forward a few minutes and now he had been humiliated, embarrassed by an unintentional kiss. The thought of it made him retch, with the biggest jerk in the class, Uchiha Sasuke, and to top it all off Sakura had pummeled him for his mistake. Can't get any worse, at least, he thought idly. Hyuga Hinata sat a few rows back bearing a similar expression, but tinged with sympathy instead of wounded pride. She had seen the whole incident and was helpless to stop it. Poor Naruto-kun, she mused. I wish I could go comfort him, but I can't, Her thoughts lit her cheeks up with a light blush. Uchiha Sasuke sat stoic as ever despite the disgust he had just experienced. Iruka-sensei had just revealed that the recent graduates would be sorted into different teams and was announcing the rosters. Needless distraction. All Sasuke wanted was to get his Junin commander, be taught powerful jutsu, and be done with everything else. Whatever teammates he would be given would only get in his way. He simply did not have time for this. Okay. Next is Team 7, Iruka announced. Hyuga Hinata. Hinata perked up at her name, shifting her gaze to her teacher. I wonder who'll be paired with me. I hope they're nice. Next. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto snapped to attention. Damn it. I wanted to be with Sakura-chan. He fumed, chastising himself for his earlier taunt at fate. Now I'm stuck with this weird, dark girl. Well, now it really can't get any worse. Meanwhile, Hinata, unnoticed, blossomed into a bright tomato red. Sweat trailed down her face. Her thoughts were disjointed, panicked. I'm with Naruto-kun. Me. And him. Oh my. Oh goodness. Oh dear. Lastly, Uchiha Sasuke. What? Naruto blurted, practically leaping out of his seat. Iruka-sensei, what the hell is this? How can you put me, an amazing shinobi, on such a lame team with, he thrust a finger at Sasuke, with this jerk? Don't call Sasuke-kun a jerk. Sakura interjected. You should be honored to be on a team with Sasuke-kun. Believe me, I'd love to trade. Naruto returned. Wait, who did Iruka-sensei say? Hinata had only just returned to reality. Iruka raised an eyebrow. Out of all 27 students, Sasuke's grades were not only the top of the class, they were perfect. Oh, it's Sasuke, thought Hinata. Yours, meanwhile, were dead last. Iruka leaned towards Naruto, a hint of condescension in his voice as he said, you understand that we need to balance the teams, right? TCH, said Sasuke, still facing forwards. Just don't get in my way, dead last. What did you call me? Naruto barked, shaking with rage. Give it a rest, Naruto. Sakura yelled, pounding Naruto with her fists. Hinata merely looked on, worried. Let's hope this'll work out, thought Iruka, also worried. Alright, this afternoon we'll introduce your Junin sensei, so just take a break until then. This is the worst. Naruto fumed out loud as he stomped around town. Stuck with that jerk Sasuke and the weirdest girl in the class. He sighed. Whatever. I'll just have to do better than both of them and show our sensei that I'm amazing. They'll make me Hokage in no time. Hinata, meanwhile, sat at a park bench, enjoying the sights of nature. The birds cheeped and fluttered cheerfully around her. The tranquility made her smile. She drew in a deep breath. Okay. I am on a team with Naruto-kun. This is happening. She exhaled. I can do this. No, I have to do this. I can't drag him down. I have to do my best. I can do this, she said to herself. Do what? Said Naruto, arriving at the bench. Hinata squeaked in surprise, the blush returning in full force. I was just saying that. I can be a good genin. What kind of stupid answer is that? She mentally kicked herself. Oh, said Naruto, apparently accepting it. What are you doing here, anyway? Just are relaxing, Hinata answered quietly, clearly not relaxed at all. Naruto did not seem to take notice. If I may ask, what are you doing here, Naruto-kun? Naruto knew enough that it would be mean to tell her that he was venting about being forced onto a team with her and Sasuke. Just walking around. What's it to you, anyway? Just wondering, she muttered, looking at the ground. Whatever, said Naruto, sitting by her, oblivious to the red on her face. An awkward minute passed. So, Hinata began, trying to break the silence. What do you think of Sasuke? Naruto asked suddenly. Huh, Sasuke-kun. She thought for a moment. Well, I don't know him very well, but he seems very smart and, talented and determined, she trailed off. Naruto scowled. Great. Another one who's in love with him. He crossed his arms. Hinata noticed his displeasure. But Naruto-kun, the words wouldn't come. What? Asked Naruto. I think. Hinata tried desperately to gather courage. You think what? Spit it out. Naruto urged. Finally, she blurted, I think the same of why. Naruto suddenly doubled over, clutching his stomach. Naruto-kun, what's wrong? Hinata asked, leaning towards him. Hold that thought. He sprang off the bench, racing away at top speed. Nature calls. He thought urgently. Naruto-kun. Hinata reached an arm out, but he was already long gone. She bowed her head in shame. I screwed up again. He probably hates me now. A few moments later, Sasuke walked by, pausing as he reached the bench. Hinata. Sasuke-kun. Hinata looked surprised. Are you looking for Naruto-kun? He was just here. No. Why would I be? Sasuke asked, taking a seat. Hinata shrugged. Another awkward minute intruded upon their company. I feel bad for Naruto-kun. Hinata mused. Why's that? Sasuke asked, only half interested. He just seems so lonely. What do you mean? He has no family. Everyone makes fun of him. I think he acts out because he's looking for someone to acknowledge him. Hinata's expression had become sorrowful. She breathed deep, not knowing why she was divulging so much of her thoughts to a guy with whom she'd barely even shared an academy classroom. My parents and I don't always have a perfect relationship, but I still love and cherish them. To be that alone in the world. I can't even imagine how terrible it would be. I know that I couldn't take it like he does. Hinata forced a smile onto her face. I'm sorry, I must be boring you. I don't mean to ramble this much. Expressionless, Sasuke contemplated her words. After a moment, he replied, You're right. Hinata's eyes opened in surprise. She hadn't thought that Sasuke was even listening to her babble. That sort of loneliness is unbearable. It is the worst feeling in the entire world, Sasuke said quietly. Leaves swirled around them from a sudden gust. After it passed, Sasuke stood and turned to look at Hinata. You have good eyes, Hinata. Oh, thank you, Hinata said quietly, hands balled on her thighs. I'm going, said Sasuke, starting to walk. See you this afternoon, Hinata called after him. Sure, said Sasuke with a small wave. After he was out of sight, Hinata craned her neck towards the sky, watching the birds fly by. Her expression had changed. It now had the smallest hint of determination. I can do this, she declared. She waited for Naruto to return, but after an hour or so, she gave up and headed back to the academy. Naruto poked his head into the hallway of the academy, irately scanning the hall. Naruto-kun, maybe you should just sit down. Hinata offered. Why is our Team 7 sensei so damn late? He griped. All of the other teams have gone off with their sensei and Iruka sensei even left. A mischievous grin worked its way onto Naruto's face. Eagerly, he grabbed an eraser from the blackboard. What are you doing? Hinata asked nervously as she watched Naruto climb a table to place the eraser atop the door. That's what you get for being late. Naruto exclaimed gleefully, leaping down. We could get in trouble for this, thought Hinata, brows furrowed. PFF'd. Like any Junin would fall for such a stupid, Sasuke scoffed. As if on cue, a hand reached in and pulled the door, triggering the eraser's fall onto Kakashi's head. He blinked in surprise as chalk dust settled around him. Naruto laughed at his sensei's misfortune. You fell for it. You fell for it. He cheered. Oh, we're going to be yelled at. Hinata faced the floor, twiddling her thumbs. Sasuke raised an inquisitive eyebrow. Is this really a Junin? He doesn't seem like much. His hand contemplatively under his chin, Kakashi gave a bright, one-eyed smile. He said jovially, how should I put this? My first impression is that I don't like any of you. All three genins' faces fell. Maybe this wasn't worth it, Kakashi thought. Come on. He waved, turning to leave, follow me. They did so and Kakashi led them to a small garden on the roof. Planting himself on the railing at the edge while his students sat a few feet in front of him, he began, so, why don't you three introduce yourselves to me? A pause. What would you all like to know? Hinata asked meekly. Kakashi shrugged. How about your likes, dislikes, dreams of the future? Things like that. Hey, why don't you introduce yourself first? Naruto returned. Hinata nodded. Oh, me. Kakashi thought for a moment. Well, my name is Hitaki Kakashi. I don't really feel like telling you my likes and dislikes. As for dreams for the future, I've never really thought of it. I've got plenty of hobbies. He trailed off, unresponsive to the beckoning looks of his students. The three turned to look at each other, silently noting that the only information divulged had been his name. Right then. Your turn. He gestured to Naruto. Alright. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. He declared, grasping the forehead protector. Hinata listened as her teammates introduced themselves. She found herself blushing when Naruto declared he'd be Hokage and worried when Sasuke explained his desire to kill someone. Throughout it all, she contemplated how her own introduction should go. And last, the girl. Kakashi motioned to her. Me. She squeaked, caught off guard. You. Kakashi reiterated. Well. She shifted nervously. I'm Hyuga Hinata. What I like is, say, a certain somebody, she urged herself. Just say it. No one will figure out who it is. What I like is pressing flowers and eating cinnamon rolls. I dislike how my father treats me. It's the truth. Say it. Crabs and shrimp. Wow. My dreams for the future are, she breathed deep, are to become kind, like my mother, and strong, like my father. She smiled inwardly at her small display of bravery. Not what I expected, Kakashi admitted to himself. Right, then. That's it for the introductions. Tomorrow, we'll start our duties as shinobi. Yeah, what kind of duties? Naruto asked, saluting excitedly. First, we're going to do something, just the four of us. What is it? Survival training, said Kakashi flatly. Hinata bit her lip in worry as she and her new teammates waited for their sensei to arrive so they could begin their exercises. His instructions had been vague and troubling. Get up early, don't be late, don't eat breakfast because they might vomit, and apparently this exam cost 2/3 of all graduates their forehead protectors. The anticipation was making it that much worse. Was Kakashi letting them stew, so that they'd panic? Could it be psychological warfare? Stress weighed on Hinata's heart more and more. Hey guys, good morning. Kakashi waved enthusiastically as he approached. No, he's just late again, Hinata concluded, unable to stop herself from feeling a bit sour as Naruto and Sasuke pointed out Kakashi's tardiness. Her disposition did not improve as Kakashi outlined the rules of the test. To her, threatening to eat her lunch right in front of her seemed like adding insult to injury. Oh God, I'm already assuming I'm going to get tied to the stump. If you want, you can use shuriken and kunai, Kakashi continued. You won't succeed unless you come at me with the intent to kill. Isn't that dangerous, Kakashi-sensei? Hinata chimed in. Striking a teacher, let alone assaulting one with a deadly weapon, was a completely alien idea to Hinata. Yeah, You're so slow you can't even dodge a blackboard eraser. Naruto laughed. We'll definitely kill you. Unfazed, Kakashi returned. The dog with the loudest bark often has the smallest bite. Well, ignore dead last sand here and we'll start on my mark. Naruto snapped, whipping out a kunai and preparing to hurl it at Kakashi. Before Hinata could properly react, Kakashi had already moved behind Naruto and was holding the kunai to the back of his skull. Amazing. Hinata's mouth fell open. Calm down, Kakashi told Naruto. I didn't say, start, yet. Seems to me like you're finally prepared to come at me with the intent to kill. Does that mean you've acknowledged me at last? He let out a minor chuckle. It seems like I'm beginning to like you guys. Maybe this wasn't a waste after all. Alright, let's get going. Ready, set, go. The four of them dispersed, ready for the test. What little encouragement Hinata had received from Naruto's outburst earlier had been mostly drained away in a few short minutes. Watching from far away behind a boulder with her Byakugan, Hinata had been subjected to Kakashi's utterly humiliation of Naruto. He'd parried all of Naruto's moves so leisurely, while reading a book, no less, and had topped it off with a kancho so hard it had jettisoned Naruto into the water next to them. This doesn't look good, Hinata thought as Naruto climbed out resembling a drowned rat. I know Naruto-kun was a bit careless, but if he can't do it, then I. Just then, 8 Bunshin emerged from the water. Ha! My new jutsu, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique. Naruto announced proudly. You better not get careless, there are more than one of me now. Hinata was shocked as she examined the copies. Each one has a chakra network, then, these aren't illusions. Not just Bunshin, but Kage Bunshin, Kakashi confirmed, apparently unfazed. You can probably only sustain this for a minute. You can't beat me with that jutsu, no matter how many you line up, you're still just Naruto. His stoic expression was replaced with surprise as another Kage Bunshin latched onto his back. What? Behind me? Hinata's heart fluttered. A smile sprouted across her lips. Yes. Weren't shinobi not supposed to get caught from behind? Naruto gloated. Right, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto's copies rushed up to Kakashi. I sent a Kage Bunshin out of the water to sneak up behind you. My still hurts. Here comes the payback. Mentally, Hinata cheered, go Naruto-kun. But it was over too soon. Naruto merely ended up hitting himself as Kakashi had switched himself out for one of the doppelgangers, then ended up hitting himself some more until he dispersed the jutsu, leaving Naruto alone on the battlefield. Poor Naruto-kun, Hinata thought, watching through the rock as Naruto noticed something on the ground, a bell that Kakashi had apparently dropped. But beneath it, underground. He doesn't see the trap. Hinata panicked. Popping out from behind the rock, Hinata called out, watch out, Naruto-kun. Either she was too far for her voice to carry or Naruto just didn't listen. He sprung the trap and was immediately strung up by his ankles. Think before using a jutsu or it may be turned against you, said Kakashi, nonchalantly picking up his bell. Also, don't fall for such obvious traps, idiot. Damn it, was Naruto's only reply. A shinobi must be able to see what's underneath the underneath, said Kakashi with a smile. I know that. I'm telling you this because you don't know. Before Naruto could reply, several kunai and shuriken pierced through Kakashi. While Naruto seemed outraged that Sasuke had apparently killed their teacher, Hinata's Byakugan allowed her to see that he had already performed a Kawarimi body switch, and was long gone. Hinata scanned her surroundings. I can't find him, she noted. Now's my chance to help Naruto-kun. She sprinted towards his location and was struck with a sudden epiphany. Wait. That's it. Naruto-kun, I think I can get us the bells. Hinata announced, arriving at the still tied up Naruto. What? You think you and Sasuke are going to get the bells without me? Naruto bit back. Fear and nerve struck Hinata. And no. I didn't mean. I just wanted to Well, I'll show you. I can get both of the bells, no problem. But Naruto-kun, just leave me alone, would you? He barked. Hinata felt her heart crack. Her will dissolved and her Byakugan deactivated. I'm sorry, she choked out. Bowing her head, she turned and ran away. She just wanted this to be over. Another term at the academy won't be so bad, she tried to console herself. She felt tears attempting to burn their way out of her eyes and covered her face, leading her to bump clumsily into a wall. Or rather, into a sensei. A shinobi, especially one with the Byakugan, should always be aware of her surroundings, said Kakashi, looming over her. Oh no, she muttered. Oh yes, he replied. Hesitating for a second, Hinata jumped back and assumed her fighting stance. The gentle fist, Kakashi noted, omitting his observation that she was visibly shaking. The most powerful of all Konoha taijutsu. However, it's rather meaningless if you can't touch me, isn't it? Kakashi quickly formed a seal and a swirl of leaves surrounded him and he vanished. Hinata blinked, confused. What? Where did he go? She examined her surroundings. Nothing. Pathetic, said a voice behind her. Turning, she found her father standing there. Next to him was Naruto, again strung up, this time by a noose, and standing over a raised platform. A lever was attached to a pole adjacent to the platform. Father. She began in panic. What are you? Why is Naruto-kun how? Listen to your babble. Are you so distracted you can't even get a bell? No, father, I'll eliminate that distraction for you. He pulled a lever and the floor beneath Naruto opened, leaving him to drop. No, she cried, but could only hear the sickening snap that accompanied his fall. No. Dizziness overtook her and she collapsed. Kakashi watched as she succumbed to his genjutsu from afar. Too cruel. He wondered aloud. Maybe a little. Looks like her Byakugan isn't strong enough to see through that level of genjutsu yet. Hinata awoke a short time later. Groaning, she lifted herself off the ground. Struggling to think, she reactivated her Byakugan to gain a sense of her position. Where's father? She wondered, then immediately remembered what had just transpired. Where's Naruto-kun? She panicked. After a moment, she was able to pinpoint the color of his chakra some ways away. Thank goodness. She breathed a sigh of relief, then realized what had actually happened and mentally kicked herself. Genjutsu. Of course. Stupid. After a further scan of the area, she located Kakashi and Sasuke's respective chakra signatures flickering rapidly. Sasuke-kun must be fighting Kakashi-sensei. Maybe together we can get the bells. Naruto-kun didn't want my help, after all, she thought glumly. Hinata raced towards the two, trying to picture the battle, but it wasn't long before Sasuke's chakra stopped moving and Kakashi's leapt away, apparently towards Naruto's. Was Sasuke-kun defeated? She wondered. She arrived to find Sasuke planted firmly in the ground and could not help but mentally compare him to a turnip. Hinata, said Sasuke. Get me out of here, would you? She had been distracted by her turnip-related thoughts. Oh, sure, right away. After pulling him out, she asked, did you fight Kakashi-sensei? Yeah, he replied. I touched a bell, too. Next time I'll get it for sure. Hinata began, maybe I could help. If you were able to do so well on your own, the two of us could. Don't get in my way, Sasuke cut her off, walking towards where Kakashi had left. Hinata sighed. No luck here, either. It's hopeless for me. There's a man that only I can kill, said Sasuke suddenly. Huh, that time, he made me cry. Are you talking about Kakashi-sensei? No. A nervous moment passed. I'm an Avenger. I have to become stronger than him. I can't just sit here doing nothing. Hinata thought back for a moment to Sasuke's self-introduction, but her train of thought was interrupted by the ringing of a bell. Damn. Wasted too much time, said Sasuke and began to walk back towards the posts. Hinata followed, now very confused. 10 minutes later, Hinata and Sasuke had sat down on opposite sides of Naruto, who had been tied to the post for his attempt to eat lunch before getting a bell. Though she felt bad for him, she couldn't bring herself to look at him. His earlier words still rang painfully in her ears. You guys look really hungry, said Kakashi with annoying candor. By the way, as regards this exercise, well, there's no need for any of you to return to the academy. Confusion adorned all three of their faces in varying amounts. Naruto's expression quickly shifted to excitement. Hey, then, all three of us, he began. But how? Hinata wondered incredulously. None of us were successful. Were our attempts good enough, or? Kakashi gave a warm smile. Exactly. All three of you should quit as shinobi. The joviality in his voice betrayed his message. Quit. What does that mean? Naruto roared, struggling against the ropes that bound him. Okay, sure, we couldn't get the bells. But why does that mean we have to quit? Suddenly, Sasuke launched himself at Kakashi, only to be immediately wrestled into submission. See, that's why you're just a punk, said Kakashi atop Sasuke. His expression turned harsh. Are you three underestimating shinobi? Why do you think you were divided into teams and are undergoing this exercise? No one answered. Simply put, you aren't getting the answer this test. Answer, said Naruto. Yes. The answer that helps you pass this test. After a moment of silence, Kakashi continued, think about it. I'm a Junin, not just a Junin, the technique master of the entire village. You three are genin. How any of you possibly hope to outwit or outfight me? Well, what's the answer, then? Naruto cried. Kakashi sighed, exasperated. It's teamwork. But, Hinata spoke up. If there are only 2 bells, how can all 3 of us work together? This test is purposefully set up to cause infighting, said Kakashi. It is supposed to make you give up your own interests and work together under unfavorable circumstances. He turned to Hinata. Hinata, you were too scared to attempt anything on your own and had to plead to the others before trying anything and ended up accomplishing nothing. But you too, he said, looking at Naruto while Sasuke looked up from underneath him. Naruto, you ran around by yourself. Sasuke, you assumed these two would get in your way. Neither of you thought of accepting Hinata's offer for help even though she was right nearby. She was trying to help. Naruto wondered. I thought she was trying to sabotage me. The mission is completed by the team, Kakashi explained. Superior individual ability is obviously important for a shinobi. But what's most important is teamwork. Individual plays that disrupt the team can put your comrades in danger and even get you killed. For example, he stepped off of Sasuke and aimed a shuriken at Naruto. Hinata. Kill Sasuke or Naruto dies. Hinata felt her heart pump manically and her eyes widened until Kakashi retracted the shuriken. You see, Kakashi said, turning away from them. If a hostage is taken, you will have to make a tough choice and someone will die. You risk your lives on these missions. He placed his hand on the stone marker before him. Look at the innumerable names carved into this stone. These are ninja who are recognized as heroes by the village. Hey, Naruto piped up, grinning. I've decided I wanna get my name carved on that stone too. I'll be a hero. These aren't just normal heroes. Kakashi uttered quietly. Oh yeah, then what kind were they? Naruto asked enthusiastically. Well, They are all heroes who died in the line of duty, Kakashi said flatly. Naruto's expression quickly sank. This is a memorial. My best friend's name is also carved here. Kakashi took a deep breath. I'll give you one more chance to get the bells after lunch. This time, it will be even tougher. If you still wish to challenge, go ahead and eat. But don't give any to Naruto. Huh? Naruto looked indignant. It's punishment for trying to eat by yourself. If either of you give him food, you fail instantly. He gave them a grim look. My word is law. Understand? With that, he bounded off, leaving the three of them. Naruto laughed. I don't need any food. I'm fine. A loud gurgle suggested that his stomach disagreed. Naruto's face fell. Hinata took one of the bento boxes and opened it. After a moment, she lifted it towards Naruto, dry heaving with shaky hands. Huh, said Naruto. Why you should have some, and Naruto-kun, she whispered. No need to be afraid. It's not like he can hate you anymore. I don't need to eat that much, and we'll have an easier tea time if you're not hungry. I can keep watch for Kakashi-sensei with my Byakugan, she added, activating it. Naruto gaped, wide-eyed as he considered her offer. Well, she did try to help me before, I guess. She's right, Sasuke chimed in, also offering his box. Unless all of us have some food, we'll just get in each other's ways. Eat up. Naruto couldn't help but wear a goofy grin, slightly rosy-cheeked. Thanks guys, but, he wriggled against his restraints. I'm kinda stuck here. Could you feed it to me, Hinata? Hinata's face turned beet red. Her thoughts began racing. Naruto-kun wants me to feed him. Oh goodness, this is so I don't know if what do I. Hello, Hinata. Oh, sorry, she said, then picked up some food with her chopsticks. I have to focus. I can't be thinking about that at a time like this, she thought, lifting the food towards Naruto's mouth. Here you go, Naruto-kun. He bit down, chewed, and swallowed rapidly. Thanks, Hinata, he said cheerfully. Hinata could hear her heart pounding in her ears. Don't faint, don't faint, don't faint, she told herself. Don't mention it, she replied softly. Don't forget to have some yourself, said Sasuke, lifting his lunch toward her. You're our lookout, after all. Hinata nodded and took some rice from Sasuke's dish. Minutes passed as the three shared their meals, silent, but for the chewing and rustling of chopsticks in food. Hinata found herself relaxed, smiling while she fed Naruto. That relaxation quickly evaporated with the sudden burst of smoke and their sensei's unmistakably enraged growl of, "You guys." Sasuke engaged a fighting stance while Naruto's shrieked in surprise. Hinata jumped backwards, stunned into silence after being torn from her reverie. Oh, that's right, we were taking a test. The turn in Naruto's disposition towards her had all but erased this information from her mind. Pass. Kakashi finished, smiling warmly through his mask. The three genin froze, dumbfounded. Kakashi chuckled. After a moment, Naruto asked, what? Did you say we, pass? Hinata followed up. You guys are the first, Kakashi answered, to more confusion from his team. Everyone else would just do whatever I told them. They were morons. His voice took on a serious tone. A ninja must see underneath the underneath. It is certainly true that those who break the rules are trash. But those who would abandon their own comrades are lower than trash. He smiled as understanding washed over his students and gave an energetic thumbs up. That's it for the training. All of you pass. Starting tomorrow, Team 7 will begin its duties. I did it. I did it. Naruto yelled jubilantly. I'm a ninja. A ninja. As Sasuke and Kakashi walked off, Hinata stayed behind to untie Naruto. I'm so glad, Naruto-kun, we made it, she said as if she herself didn't believe it. Yeah, said Naruto as the ropes fell. After a second of stretching, he looked at Hinata, who had begun twiddling her fingers and staring at the ground. Say, Hinata, she perked up. I'm sorry I yelled at you earlier. I was a big jerk, said Naruto, rubbing at the back of his head, unable to meet her look. Sasuke and I should have listened to you from the start. I promise to do that more from now on. Can you forgive me? Hinata could hardly believe her ears. Naruto-kun is apologizing to me. Asking me for forgiveness. A sudden dryness permeated her throat. She choked out. Sweat began to pour down her face. Hinata, she gulped. No fear, she told herself. She whispered. If you be by me some sea cinnamon rolls. I'll see call it even, she finished, eyes averted. Too far, way too far, she thought, heart pounding. You screwed up. Take it back. Take it back before he gets mad. As she opened her mouth once more, a laugh from Naruto made her bring her gaze back to him, and to her surprise, he was beaming. Sure thing, Hinata, he said. Just, give me some time to get the money, okay? She nodded. Great. See you tomorrow. He raced off, arms raised in celebration of their victory. Hinata sighed contentedly. Before she could take a step, however, a hand grasped her shoulder. I almost forgot, said Kakashi, turning her around. There is the matter of your father to which we must attend. Her expression dimmed. Yes. I'll come by before our mission tomorrow. Hinata made a noise of agreement and Kakashi disappeared. Best not to dwell on it for now, she mused and began to walk back to the Hyuga complex. She let her mind drift back to Naruto's thanks and apologies and enjoyed the scenic route home. Ko was there to greet her as she arrived at the gates to the main house. Welcome home, Hinata-sama, he said pleasantly. Hello, Ko, she replied, unaware of any tone in her voice. You seem rather upbeat today, Hinata-sama. Does that mean your mission went well? She stopped. She hadn't even noticed, but she'd been smiling all the way home. A small, singular laugh bubbled out of her as she answered, yes. I had a good day, and entered the building, making her way to her room. A very, very good day. Hinata awoke the next morning to the sound of a knock at her door. Who is it? She mumbled, wiping the sleep from her eyes. Hitaki Kakashi-san here for you, Hinata-sama, Ko replied from outside. Oh, that's right. She realized what exactly was happening today and hurriedly dressed herself. She'd been dreading this. When the heir to a larger, older clan became a genin, it was custom for their sensei to speak to the head of the clan to confirm. The situation with the Hyuga, however, was complicated. The faster this is over, the better. Hinata opened her door to find only Ko standing there. Ko, where's Kakashi-sensei? He went ahead to talk with your father while you were dressing, Ko replied. Oh no, she squeaked, then ran off towards the training hall. Father and Hanabi-chan will be sparring right now, she concluded, but stopped dead in her tracks right outside the doorway as she heard her father's voice. Stand, Hanabi, said Hiashi as his youngest daughter struggled to lift herself. Starting today, I will be taking charge of Hinata, Kakashi told him. On my squad, Hinata will no doubt face dangers to her life. Do you approve of this? Do what you wish, Hiashi said without hesitation. She is superfluous to the Hyuga. She is a failure who cannot even best Hanabi, who is 5 years her junior. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Are you sure, Hiashi Dono? Hinata is. Is there something else you needed, or is that it? Said Hiashi, not looking at Kakashi. Please leave. You are interrupting our training. After a second, Kakashi nodded and took a step outside the dojo only to stop when he noticed Hinata standing next to the doorway, a miserable look on her face. Hinata could not bring herself to speak or even acknowledge Kakashi. She feared she would burst into tears if she did. Don't, she told herself. Don't cry, and if you do, don't let him see you cry. He'll think you're pathetic. She could feel herself begin to hyperventilate. Stupid crybaby, he's going to kick you off the squad for this, but. Her father's words pounded in her ears and her eyes began to sting. But just as the first tear was about to fall, she felt Kakashi's hand gently rest on her head. At last, she looked at him and even through the mask, she could see his gentle smile. Kakashi-sensei, she whimpered. You'll do fine, Hinata, said Kakashi softly. Let's go prove him wrong, okay? Rubbing her eyes until the heat left, Hinata nodded. Good. Come on, or we'll be late. With Hinata following, Kakashi began heading for the exit of the compound. Glancing back subtly, he thought to himself, poor girl. I didn't realize the situation with her father was that bad. I should say something. Hinata, your father. Kakashi-sensei, she interrupted. Please don't worry about it. All that concerns me right now is the mission. Very well then, he replied. At least, that's what I'm telling myself, Hinata mused. Maybe someday I'll believe it. 3 meters to your left, Naruto-kun, Hinata directed into her radio as she watched with her Byakugan. It's not facing you, you should be able to get it. Naruto, Sasuke. Do you have visual on the target? Asked Kakashi. Yeah, said Sasuke. Sure do, reiterated Naruto. Good. Approach in a pincer formation, Kakashi ordered. Roger, said the boys in unison. A few moments later, they leapt from the bushes and Naruto seized their prey, a large, panicking cat. Got it, Naruto boasted before the cat began swiping at him. Ow, ow, ow. Verify the target's identity, said Kakashi over the radio. Check for the ribbon on the left ear. Verified, replied Sasuke. Good. Lost pet. Tora. Search mission, complete. Kakashi declared with more pride than the mission really deserved. Nevertheless, Hinata smiled, satisfied at another job well done. Things were running so smoothly for Team 7. Every mission had been completed with relatively little struggle, cat scratches aside, and spending so much time around her team had been having a good effect on Hinata. She could now talk to Naruto without stuttering more than once per sentence as long as the topic of conversation wasn't too embarrassing or personal, at least. Even her father's harsh words seemed far away. Things are good, she concluded. Judging by his outburst while the third Hokage read the list of next possible missions, Naruto seemed to disagree. No, 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 thank you, Naruto blurted, arms in an X shape. I wanna do a more incredible mission. Find us a better one. I agree, thought Sasuke. Naruto-kun does raise a good point. Hinata shifted her gaze to Kakashi, not wanting to alert the third Hokage or Iruka to her agreement, and noticed her sensei's discomfiture. Iruka immediately bolted out of his seat. You idiot. You're just a rookie, Iruka yelled. Everyone starts off with simple duties and works their way up. The third Hokage merely sighed. But we keep getting the crappiest possible assignments. Naruto retorted. Quiet, you, said Kakashi, rapping Naruto on the back of the head. Naruto, it seems I must explain what these missions are about, the third Hokage began, but as he explained the mission ranking system, Naruto swiftly drifted off into contemplation about his next meal. Hey, listen, said the third Hokage, annoyed. I apologize, Kakashi said meekly, and Hinata noted how odd it was to see her sensei act the part of the nervous underling. Geez, all you do is lecture, 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 said Naruto. But you know what? I'm not the trouble-making brat you still seem to think I am. With that, he crossed his arms and pouted. Kakashi's expression grew to one of resigned exasperation. After an uncomfortable moment, the Hokage spoke softly, okay. If you want it that much, I'll give you a C-rank mission. C-rank? Oh dear, thought Hinata. I hope it's not too hard. Your mission is to protect a certain individual. Naruto's expression blossomed into a grin and he cheered. Who is it? A feudal lord? A princess? Calm yourself. I'm about to introduce him, said Hiruzen, then turned towards the doorway. Please enter. A pair of arms holding what was clearly a mostly consumed sake bottle preceded the old man who entered. What's this? He growled, incredulous. They're all a bunch of puny brats. Especially the midget with the stupid face. Are you really a ninja already? Naruto laughed at the old man's insult. He looked around. Which one's the midget with the stupid? Hinata gulped nervously as the answer dawned on him. It was then she realized that Naruto was a bit shorter than she was. He'd always seemed taller to her. I'll kill you, Naruto roared, jumping towards their client, only to be pulled back by Kakashi. What's the point of killing the person we're supposed to protect? Idiot, chastised Kakashi. The old man introduced himself. I am the super expert bridge builder, Tazuna. I expect you to provide me super protection until I get back to my country and complete my bridge. Hinata could not help but think this was not a well-boding start. Let's go. Naruto cheered ecstatically as they departed the village. You seem excited, Naruto-kun, noted Hinata, smiling at his energy. Hey, am I really going to be safe with this brat? Asked Tazuna, thoroughly dashing Naruto's good mood. The situation quickly dissolved into bickering, Naruto's declaration that he would be Hokage, and another death threat, which Kakashi quickly put to rest. Once they were on their way, things ran surprisingly smoothly. Hinata's naturally worried nature prompted her to ask, Kakashi-sensei, will we be facing combat with other shinobi on this mission? No, Kakashi answered. The Wave country does not have its own ninja village, unlike most other countries. Besides, this is just a C-rank mission, we'll be fine. Oh, good, thought Hinata, sighing in relief. Immediately after, sharp chains pulled by two mechanical claw-bearing shinobi wrapped tightly around Kakashi and tore him to pieces. Kakashi-sensei, Hinata screamed in fright. One down, said one of the enemies as the pieces of their sensei fell to the ground. In an instant they had circled around to Naruto's back and were preparing another strike. Two down, the other one muttered as fear flooded Naruto's face. Quick as lightning, Sasuke jumped into the fray and handily repelled the two attackers, but not before one could get a scratch on Naruto. The enemy shinobi swiftly regained their footing and leapt at Tazuna just as Hinata regained her senses, standing between the attackers and her client. Sasuke jumped in the way, preparing to intercept, but Kakashi, revealing himself to be alive, beat him to the punch, dispatching the two effortlessly. The others breathed a collective sigh of relief. Naruto, I'm sorry for not helping you right away, said Kakashi after tying up the shinobi. I got you injured. I didn't realize you wouldn't be able to move. Good work, Sasuke. You too, Hinata. Hinata blushed from the praise. Then, for the first time ever, they witnessed Sasuke smile. Hey, he said, turning to Naruto. Did you get hurt, Chicken-kun? Sasuke's smugness visibly irritated Naruto, who looked ready to retaliate before Kakashi interrupted. Naruto, save it for later. Their claws are laced with poison, we have to treat it immediately. We'll have to open a wound to let the poison drain. Naruto scowled at the wound on his hand while Kakashi interrogated the mist ninja. Hinata rushed over to his side. It'll be okay, Naruto-kun, she attempted with a smile. We should go back to the village to get you treated. This mission might be too much for us anyway. Muttered Kakashi, pondering. This might be too much. I guess we should return to the village to treat Naruto. Naruto could not bear any more. Whipping out a kunai, he drove the knife into his hand, much to the shock of the others. Naruto-kun, Hinata squeaked, overwhelmed. With this kunai, Naruto growled, teeth grit, I swear I'll protect this old man. We're continuing the mission. Oh, Naruto-kun, Hinata sighed, relieved and inspired by Naruto's declaration. Naruto, it's good that you're releasing the poison, but... A grin sprouted on Kakashi's face. Any more and you'll die from blood loss. Seriously. Naruto began panicking. Struck with an idea, Hinata reached into her pack and pulled out a small cylinder. Maybe this can help, she said, offering it to Kakashi as he wrapped the wound. It's a medicinal cream that I made. Kakashi nodded, unscrewing the cap and applying the cream. He paused after only a few dabs and scrutinized the cut. It's already healing. Hey, am I gonna be okay? Naruto asked nervously. Finishing the wrap, Kakashi answered, you'll be fine. Hinata's cream did the trick. It was a good enough cover. Hinata's cream was effective, but obviously the Nine Tails chakra was doing the bulk of the work. Naruto seemed to buy it, anyway. Wow. Thanks, Hinata. He smiled at her. Your cream works great. Hinata felt dizzy, but pleasantly so. Despite that setback, the mission proceeded smoothly enough. Sure, Tezuna's reveal that a rich businessman was trying to have him killed was jarring and Naruto had almost killed an innocent rabbit, but other than that, Hinata thought, nothing was really going wrong. In fact, she thought it was nice to see another country for the first time, and if there were another attack, she swore she would be ready. She did not anticipate that a giant meat cleaver would be hurled at them from nowhere. Everyone, get down, Kakashi ordered as the sword spun. Nobody hesitated to follow. The blade embedded itself in a tree, and when it stopped, its owner stood upon the hilt. Well, if it isn't the hidden mist's missing nin, Momochi Zabuza-kun, Kakashi explained nonchalantly. Just as Naruto looked ready to spring into action, Kakashi stopped him. Everybody, get back. This one is on an entirely different level. It'll be a little tough unless I do this. As Kakashi grabbed his forehead protector, Zabuza spoke, you appear to be Sharingan Kakashi. Sorry, but the old man is mine. Surround and protect Tezuna-san, said Kakashi. Do not enter the fight. That's the teamwork here. Hinata. Oh, alright. Hinata replied nervously, forming a seal. Byakugan. Ho, muttered Zabuza as Hinata's nerves swelled, both of Konoha's mighty eyes in one place. Maybe I'll take them home as a souvenir. Zabuza, Kakashi growled in a tone his students had never heard, you fight me first. I already get to see the great Sharingan, said Zabuza. I'm honored. After Sasuke finished explaining the Sharingan's abilities, Zabuza leapt down to the surface of the nearby lake. Over there, yelled Naruto, pointing. He's releasing a high amount of chakra. Kakashi noted. Ninpu. Kurigakur no Jutsu, ninja art. Hidden mist technique, said Zabuza, and immediately a shroud of mist descended over them. He's gone, said Naruto. He'll come after me first, said Kakashi. Momochi Zabuza. As a member of the Hidden Mist, he was known as an expert in silent killing. You don't notice until you're already dead. I can't quite use the Sharingan perfectly, so you guys need to be careful. Hinata, keep watch. Why does Kakashi-sensei keep asking Hinata to do stuff? Naruto wondered. A low, grumbling laugh came from seemingly everywhere in the mist. That little girl's Byakugan won't be able to pierce my mist, came Zabuza's voice. I've got 8 choices. Liver, lungs, spine, clavicle vein, jugular vein, brain, kidneys, heart. Which one should I go for? He's right, whispered Hinata, searching desperately. I can't find him. Hinata wasn't the only fearful one. Sasuke was sweating bullets right next to her. Sasuke, said Kakashi in a reassuring tone. Don't worry. I'll protect you all even if it costs my life. He smiled warmly. I will never let my comrades die. We'll see about that, Zabazaz growled, appearing behind them. It's over. But as he swung, Kakashi stabbed Zabuza in the gut, simultaneously allowing his allies to get to safety. The fight had been tumultuous and chaotic, but the ending was surprisingly abrupt. The unknown figure that had apparently killed Zabuza stood before them, ready to take the corpse away. Now Kakashi had to explain to Naruto that there existed people in the world who were younger than Naruto but stronger than his sensei. Kakashi-sensei. Hinata piped up as the mist cleared. She had been shivering since the fight began. What is it, Hinata? Kakashi asked, trying to hide his exhaustion. Hinata moved in close and whispered, he's still alive. Kakashi's eyes widened. His pulse was definitely gone, he thought back. But the Byakugan can see internal organ flow. It wouldn't be fooled. Kakashi turned to the hunter nin before them. That means that this guy is an enemy. Your battle is now over, said the masked figure. I must now dispose of the body, since it is filled with secrets. Farewell. The hunter nin disappeared with Zabuza. Settling his breath, Kakashi pulled his forehead protector back down to cover his Sharingan. Not good. Kakashi-sensei, why did you let them go? Hinata asked, startled. Well, said Kakashi, teetering forward. This should probably help answer that. He collapsed. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto yelped, rushing towards his sensei. Face in the dirt, Kakashi continued. The Sharingan takes up a lot of chakra. I can't really move right now. If I had attacked them, the fight would have gone poorly. Don't worry, said Tazuna a bit too energetically. You can recuperate at my house. Thank you, said Kakashi. Are you alright, sensei? Asked Tazuna's daughter, Tsunami, at Tazuna's home. Yes. I just can't move for a week, Kakashi replied. If that guy is still alive, what should we do? Asked Tazuna, finally showing worry. Should we hide? Will he be able to find us? That just means we get to beat him up again, said Naruto. Don't worry, Tazuna-san, said Kakashi, shushing Naruto. Zabuza should be in a pretty sorry state himself. You don't just recover from a fake death like that. But it means that we have some preparation to do. He tilted his head to face Hinata. If you hadn't been watching, we wouldn't know that Zabuza is still alive. That gives us the advantage. Well done, Hinata. Hinata gave a humble bow. Kakashi sat up. Let's go. The sooner we start, the better prepared we'll be for Zabuza's next attack. Naruto felt the training was not going well. Earlier, Kakashi had told him that he had improved most out of the three of them, but now he couldn't even get higher than few feet up the trees he was supposed to climb. Stupid trees. Stupid Sasuke. To top it off, the brief interaction he'd had with Tazuna's grandson left him in a sour mood. At least I'm doing better than, huh? He looked around. Hinata, he called. Up here, Naruto-kun. Came the response from above. Naruto looked to find Hinata sitting in a tree branch higher up than even Sasuke had gotten. She waved as Naruto stared, open-mouthed. Looks like Hinata is the best at chakra control, said Kakashi, upside down. Damn it, Naruto raged. I thought I was the one who'd improved most. Hinata's face fell. He's mad at me again. Wow, Kakashi chimed. Not only does Hinata have that Byakugan, but she's got good chakra control and stamina. I'd say out of the three of you, she's the closest to the title of Hokage. Naruto scowled. He glanced at Sasuke. I guess we know which clan is the strongest in Konoha after all. Sensei. It wasn't anything, Hinata attempted weakly. Modest too, muttered Kakashi, now just amusing himself. Of course, the gentle fist already necessitates a good bit of chakra control. It's natural that Hinata would have an affinity for this exercise. I can do this, thought Naruto, fists clenched. I'm gonna catch up to Sasuke, and I'm gonna be the best. An hour later, however, Naruto had not made significant progress. Hinata, meanwhile, was taking a quick break. Gathering up courage, Hinata stood and headed towards where Naruto had just landed unceremoniously on his back. Hello, Naruto-kun, said Hinata, trying her best to smile. Ow. Naruto rubbed at where he'd just hit his head. What's up, Hinata? I was just wondering, maybe I could help you out a bit. She faced the ground. Naruto's first instinct was to snap back that he didn't need her help, that he would do it himself, that he'd beat both of them and become Hokage in no time, but he remembered what he'd said during the bell test. I should have listened to you from the start. I promise to do that more from now on. Sure, Hinata. What should I do? Her heart fluttered. Well, you need to balance the chakra in your feet so that it adheres to the tree without damaging the structural integrity of the tree, and, from the look on Naruto's face, she could tell she'd already lost him. She thought for a moment. Here, try focusing chakra at your feet. I'll tell you how much more or less you need. Naruto tilted his head. How? Like this. Byakugan. Her eyes focused. Oh. Naruto pointed. Yeah, I was wondering about that. What's the deal with those eyes? The Byakugan is the dujutsu passed down in my family, the Hyuga clan, Hinata explained. It allows me to see through objects, even inside the human body, and gives color to chakra. I can see all around me, too. With one exception, she added mentally. I can also see up to 50 meters away. My father can see even farther than that, though. Wow, said Naruto, eyes wide. That's amazing. It's like Kakashi Sensei's Sharingan. He thought for a moment. Does it take a lot of chakra to use? She shook her head. And no, not really. It only takes a small amount of chakra for me. You can think of it as sort of a cousin to the Sharingan. That's why Kakashi Sensei had you use it to watch out for Zabuza. Naruto reasoned, hand on chin. But wait, why couldn't you see him in the mist, then? Zabuza used some kind of jutsu that generates mist from chakra. My Byakugan couldn't pinpoint it, she said with a bit of shame. Naruto saw her sadness and put a hand comfortingly on her shoulder. Don't worry. Let's train hard and next time, you'll definitely be able to get him. He said, grinning. You tell me where he is, and I'll beat him up. Deal. Hinata blushed, smiled, and nodded. Deal, she agreed. Great, said Naruto, forming a seal for focus. Now, I'll control my chakra and you tell me when I've got enough, okay? She nodded and he began. Hinata watched intently. More, she told him. Keep going. Almost. Wait, a little too much. There, hold it. She held her hands out. Like this, said Naruto, struggling to maintain the chakra. Yes. Try it out, Naruto-kun. She encouraged. Naruto turned and walked towards the tree. Sweat trickled down his temple. His look of consternation faded as he realized he wasn't falling from the tree. He laughed. I did it. He yelled and turned to face Hinata. Check me out. I'm awesome. I'm whoa. In his excitement, he lost control and tumbled out of the tree, rolling down the trunk and slamming right into Hinata, ending with him on top of her. Hinata winced from the pain. It took her a moment to realize exactly what had happened. Catching sight of Naruto's face inches from her own, her thoughts flew into panic mode as she felt heat rush to her face. Oh dear, oh my, oh dear, oh my, oh dear, oh my. She let out a short but piercing shriek and promptly passed out, the color draining from her face. Naruto quickly hopped off of her, concerned. Hinata. Oh crap, are you okay? Hey, say something. He knelt down and jostled her a bit. Her eyes blinked slowly awake. She muttered. I had the weirdest dream. I'd helped Naruto-kun with his training, and then he was on top of me, and Hinata. Naruto breathed out relief. You scared me for landing on you like that. I'm kind of clumsy. It was real. Hinata's mouth would not cooperate as she tried to form words. Is everything all right over there? Kakashi called, grabbing his crutches. Even Sasuke had glanced over at the commotion. Hinata's brain finally recovered from its short circuit. Why yes. Everything's fine. I was just giving Naruto-kun some advice. She forced a laugh and waved. As long as you're still training, said Kakashi, resuming his book. Thanks for helping me, Hinata. I think I've got the hang of it now. You're really nice, said Naruto, helping Hinata up. Oh, don't worry about it. She squeaked, her cheeks burning once more as Naruto returned to run up the tree. Smiling, she held the hand he'd used to pull her up to her chest, as though absorbing its warmth. She remembered what Naruto said about Zabuza's mist and her expression determined. I can do it, she told herself. I can train my Byakugan while I climb trees. Next time, I'll definitely be able to see through the mist. Suddenly, she felt Sasuke tap her on the shoulder. Hinata, what did you and Naruto talk about? He asked as she turned. Why do you want to know, Sasuke-kun? Sasuke hesitated before answering. Before you two talked, Naruto could barely get 2 steps up the tree. Now he's climbed higher than I have. Did you give him some advice? Hinata nodded a bit sheepishly. He looked like you could use some help. Sasuke averted his gaze, his pride getting the better of him. Well, could you tell me what you told him? He asked quietly. Hinata blinked in surprise. This was unexpected. Of course, she said with a smile. Here, focus chakra at your feet. Naruto looked down from his branch and chuckled. Stupid Sasuke. He sees me being so awesome that he has to beg Hinata for help when she offered it to me on her own. I'm on my way to being Hokage. Meanwhile, Kakashi smiled, glancing sidelong at his students. Things seem to be going well. I was right after all. He turned a page in his book. Hinata sat fidgeting in Tezuna's home. Naruto had been out training very late each night since they'd started. Thanks to her aptitude at the tree climbing exercise, Kakashi had assigned Hinata to guard Tezuna during the day while he worked on the bridge. She had mixed feelings about this. At once, it was great praise to be given the task to guard their client. At the same time, however, this not only caused her to train more at night, it also separated her from Naruto. Despite the ever-present danger of Zabuza's return, the day-by-day training alongside Naruto and Sasuke had been enjoyable, even fun, dare she think it. But duty called as it always did, and now she spent the day observing just how terrible the situation in the Wave Country really was. Even so, she got in the extra training for her Byakugan. Her progress was good, she could see farther and farther away each day. Hinata, said Kakashi from above her. He was doing upside-down sit-ups on the ceiling while reading. Don't worry so much about Naruto. He'll be fine. She blushed a bit, embarrassed that Kakashi had read her thoughts so clearly. I know, sensei, it's just. I understand. Still, you should get some sleep. Naruto and Sasuke's duty right now is to train. Yours is to guard Tezuna during the day. Shinobi rarely get good opportunities on missions to sleep. Take this one. She nodded. Okay, she said, and headed towards where she'd be sleeping. It's better this way, thought Kakashi. She cares so much for him, but she needs to take care of herself, too. As Hinata made her way towards her futon, she passed Tsunami in the kitchen and an idea struck her. Approaching the lady of the household, she asked, tease Tsunami-san, would you mind if I use the kitchen? I'd like to make something for Naruto-kun, if that's okay. Oh, yes, go right ahead, said Tsunami, scrubbing a dish. Take whatever you need. Hinata thanked her and proceeded to assemble various foods in a small box, taking care to note which ones were proper. Tsunami smiled as Hinata worked. You care for that boy, don't you? Hinata blushed. He is my teammate, after all, she muttered. But it's more than that, isn't it? We're friends, I think. Hinata's face resembled a ripe tomato. Tsunami chuckled. It's okay. You don't have to say it. Here, let me help you, she said, putting down the plate and grabbing some ingredients. Once more Hinata thanked her host, and as soon as they were finished, Hinata packed up the box. Taking it to Naruto's room, she tied it up with a small bit of rope and wrote, Naruto-kun, in case you're hungry from your training, please have some. Hinata. She'd deliberately chosen foods that would keep overnight so as to be flexible for Naruto's arrival. There, she said to herself, and couldn't help but smile at a job she thought was well done. The next morning, Hinata awoke bright and early, but Naruto was nowhere to be found. Kakashi-sensei, is Naruto-kun around? She asked. He hasn't returned yet, said Tazuna, eyebrow raised. I hope he's all right, Tsunami chimed, bringing in plates. A child all alone in the woods. Don't worry, said Kakashi cheerfully. He might not look it, but he's a true ninja. He'll be fine. Hinata remained unconvinced. But Kakashi-sensei, she said, what if he's hurt? Zabuza's out there. What if he's been caught? She clenched her fist. I'm going after him. She began gathering her gear. Hinata, your mission is to guard Tazuna-san, said Kakashi, holding up a hand to stop her. Naruto will be fine. Stay here. Something in Hinata burst. Turning towards Kakashi, eyes charged, she said, Kakashi-sensei, you told us, those who break the rules are trash, but those who would abandon their own comrades are lower than trash. What kind of person would I be to leave my comrade lying where the enemy could easily get him? Kakashi blinked. She's come a long way, he thought, and lowered his hand, nodding his approval. Hinata bowed and then rushed out the door. Please be okay, Hinata hoped, rushing towards their training ground, Byakugan active. She was surprised by how much and how clearly she could see. Her training had paid off more than she'd expected. It was almost enough to detract from the urgency of the situation. Suddenly, she caught sight of Naruto's chakra signature. There. Thank goodness. But wait. One more. She arrived at their location to find Naruto sitting on the ground next to a young girl. Naruto-kun, she called. Hinata, said Naruto, confused. Are you okay? She asked, then began inspecting him. Oh, you're hurt, she squeaked. Don't worry, I'm okay, mostly, said Naruto. Thanks to this nice girl. Unbeknownst to either of them, Haku had sensed her arrival. Behind his back, he began making the seals for his ice needles. The small spears began materializing in his hand, unseen by either of them. Haku's face remained placid. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm being rude, said Hinata, looking at the girl. She's beautiful. I'm Naruto-kun's teammate. Are you his friend? The needles melted into nothingness and Haku relaxed imperceptibly. The mist must have camouflaged my identity. Well, we just met, but I think so, he said, smiling. Well, you treated Naruto-kun, at any rate, said Hinata. Thank you for that. It was no trouble. I was glad to help. Hinata nodded and retrieved her medicinal cream. As she uncapped it, Haku went to snatch the container, but stopped himself before he grabbed it. May I take a look at that, please? Sure, said Hinata quietly. Are you well versed in medical salves? Something like that, said Haku, omitting the fact that he'd acquired these skills through a life of assassination and hiding from the authorities. He rubbed a bit of the cream between his thumb and forefinger and sniffed it. This is good medicine, he said, screwing the cap back on. If I may make a recommendation, add these herbs to the mix when you make the next batch. Reaching into his basket, he handed Hinata a handful of herbs. Oh, thank you, Hinata replied, revealing a smile. Here, Naruto-kun, let me get those scrapes. She leaned down and began applying the cream, trying to keep her hands steady while the thought "you're touching Naruto-kun" pounded in her head continuously. Thanks, Hinata, said Naruto. Is she one of the people you want to protect? Haku asked. What? When a person has something to protect, they become truly strong. Do you want to protect her? Naruto contemplated this for a moment, then looked to Hinata, who refused to meet his eyes, blushing furiously and thankful for the excuse of treating his remaining wounds to look away. Naruto beamed. Yeah, I guess she is. Unseen by Naruto, Hinata's face bore a mix of utter surprise and pure elation. Haku returned Naruto's expression. You will become strong. Let's meet again somewhere. Sure, said Naruto. By the way, said Haku as he walked. I'm a boy. Both Naruto and Hinata's faces unmistakably displayed shock. Soon after, Sasuke arrived. There you are, he said. Hinata. Kakashi says to return, since you've found Naruto. Naruto, you should get back to work. He brushed by the two of them and resumed training. When Naruto eventually returned that night, he found a bento box laid on his futon. Reading the note attached, he smiled. Hinata. She was worried about me. He opened it and to his surprise, the food was still good. As he was about to dig in, he hesitated, quickly closed the lid, and loaded the box into his pack. This'll make a good snack in the middle of training. Closing his bag, he took off out the door and towards the training ground once again. Hinata, meanwhile, heard his footsteps and smiled. He's going to train more. So should I. After readying her supplies, she too headed out of Tezuna's home to follow Naruto and get back to work. The next morning, Kakashi wandered out alone towards where he hoped his students would be. Not a single one came home last night. It was enough to actually worry him. He found Hinata on the ground, lying against a tree that bore many cuts, an orange jacket draped over her like a blanket. Hinata, he called. Her eyes opened slowly and she smiled. Naruto-kun's jacket. Did he? She wondered as she inspected the jacket. Oh, good morning, Kakashi-sensei, she said groggily, and hoisted herself up. Good morning. Were you out here all night? He asked, looking around. Yes, though I fell asleep and Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun were still training, she said with a bit of a frown. Did I miss my shift with Tezuna-san? What time is it? No, it's still early. Speaking of Naruto and Sasuke, where are those two? I'll check. Just as she formed the seal to activate her Byakugan, a kunai dropped to the ground from above. Kakashi and Hinata looked to its origin and found Naruto chuckling to himself, slung over a tree branch. He's climbed even higher than last night, said Hinata cheerfully. What'd you think? Naruto called. Look at how high I can climb. As he stood up on the branch, he stumbled and began to teeter backwards. Naruto-kun, watch out! Cried Hinata. Oh no, said Kakashi, if you fall from that height. Naruto slipped off the branch. Hinata screamed and Kakashi looked panicked until Naruto caught himself on the branch with his feet. Just kidding, he said, laughing as he swung back and forth. You guys fell for it. As Hinata began to breathe a sigh of relief, however, Naruto's grip on the tree loosened and he began to plummet, prompting another shriek from Hinata and Naruto, before being caught by the ankle by Sasuke. "You moron," said Sasuke coolly as Naruto panted his relief. Kakashi glanced around at his students, at Naruto, who had resumed his place on the tree, at Sasuke, who stood smirking at his teammates' ridiculousness, and at Hinata, who was cheering for her friend's success while silently celebrating her own. Only a short while ago, Kakashi had made fools of each of them during the bell test. Now, it seemed they were so much more than they were before. They've all grown so well, he thought, and smiled wide. The next night, Naruto and Sasuke stood atop the very peaks of the trees, swaying in the wind as the moonlight washed over them. Both of them bore wide grins, even if Naruto's was formed through some heavy breathing. "Want to go back?" Sasuke asked casually. "Yeah," said Naruto. He turned to look at Hinata, who herself was clinging to a slightly shorter tree. "You coming with, Hinata?" She nodded and smiled. It had cost her quite a lot of sleep to make up the training time while maintaining her schedule of guarding Tazuna. She had had to create little methods of mini-training to compensate while she tended her duties. There had been times she thought she would give up, but whenever fatigue encroached of the edges of her vision, she would remember the promise Naruto swore on his hand and would push back the exhaustion. At last, she realized, it was all worth it. Sasuke's foot pushed the door to Tazuna's home open. Team 7 entered triumphantly but wearily. Sasuke supported Naruto and Hinata found herself clinging to Naruto's arm. Some part of her was amazed that she wasn't hyperventilating at this level of physical contact and was certain she would freak out twice as much to make up for it the next day. "You're finally back," said Tazuna. "What's this? You look super dirty and worn out." "We made it to the top," said Naruto. "All three of us." "All right," said Kakashi promptly. "Starting tomorrow, Naruto, you and Sasuke will help Hinata protect Tazuna-san." Hearing this, Hinata closed her eyes, gave a pleasant smile, and leisurely collapsed on the floor, fast asleep. Kakashi laughed awkwardly. "Let's get her upstairs, shall we? Naruto-kun." Hinata lightly prodded Naruto's shoulder as he lay unconscious. He responded by snoring loudly and rolling away. The morning had come and Hinata had somehow managed to wake up, albeit still a little dizzy, thanks to the thermos of tea from which she took periodic sips, but Naruto seemed determined to protest the very idea of not being asleep. "Leave him, Hinata," said Kakashi. "He's pushed his body to the limit. It's best to let him rest." "Okay," she replied, her voice tinged with a bit of regret. "Right then. Let's super go," said Tazuna. The group had arrived to the site of mutilated bodies strewn across the bridge. One of the wounded soldiers had claimed a monster had attacked them. Now, a familiar mist descended upon them. None of them had any question as to what it meant. "Here they come," shouted Kakashi. The team readied their weapons. "He's come at last. Kakashi-sensei," said Hinata. "This is Kurigakure no Jutsu, hiding in mist technique, right?" Without waiting for his confirmation, Hinata activated her Byakugan. "Long time no see Kakashi," came a voice from the mist. "Still babysitting those brats, huh? Poor kid. He's shaking again." With little movement, Hinata gave a series of hand signals to Sasuke, who grinned. Kakashi gave his mark. "I'm shaking from excitement," Sasuke clarified and sped off. The sound of blades slashing through flesh echoed from the mist and 5 Zabuza Bunshin dropped to the floor before exploding into water. Sasuke smoothly landed back in his original spot. "He defeated my Bunshin, but how did he see them?" asked Zabuza. "Ah, that girl. She can see through it now, can't she?" Zabuza gave a low chuckle. "Your brats have grown, Kakashi." The real Zabuza and Haku emerged into view. Looks like some rivals have appeared, Haku. It does indeed, answered Haku. That masked one was an ally after all, said Kakashi. I'll fight him, Sasuke declared. Trying to trick us with that stupid act, I hate bastards like him the most. Be careful, Sasuke-kun, said Hinata, focusing on Zabuza and Haku. They have strong chakra. She felt something familiar about them, but couldn't place it. I'll be fine, Sasuke replied with confidence. Thanks to your help, I've been able to get much stronger. An impressive young man, said Haku. Even though the Mizubunshin have only a tenth of the strength of the original, it is still rather impressive. We've got the advantage, said Zabuza. Go. Yes, said Haku, who disappeared in a vortex of water before quickly appearing right in front of Sasuke, swiping at him with a needle. Sasuke repelled it with his kunai. Hinata, stay with Tazuna and keep watch with your Byakugan. We'll let Sasuke handle him. Right, Hinata replied, channeling more chakra to her eyes. She watched as Sasuke was able to keep up with Haku, feeling an unfamiliar rush as she realized just how far they'd come. We can do this, she thought excitedly as Sasuke delivered a sharp blow right to Haku's face. I can't have you disparaging my team by calling them brats, Kakashi said calmly. Sasuke is the #1 rookie in the village. Hinata is the heir to the most noble clan of Konoha. She blushed from the praise. And the other one is the #1 unpredictable ninja of them all. Zabuza began to laugh, and the battle took a dark turn. Hinata's efforts to break Haku's ice mirrors had been in vain. Even with her newly augmented Byakugan, she couldn't hit Haku with shuriken without him blocking them. Her confidence began dwindling. This is bad. Sasuke-kun is going to. Just then, she noticed something on the edge of her vision. Her grin returned. Yes, he's here. Naruto arrived in a burst of smoke. Uzumaki Naruto has finally arrived. He announced. Now that I'm here, everything's gonna be fine. The main character of a story usually shows up just in the nick of time to kick the enemies. Hinata felt renewed strength from Naruto's arrival. We can win this. Suddenly, Zabuza threw some shuriken at Naruto, only to be blocked by an equal amount of needles from Haku. Haku, what is this? Asked Zabuza. Zabuza-san, please let me fight these children my way, Haku answered. So you don't want me to interfere? You're as soft as always, said Zabuza. With a quick jolt of worry, Hinata watched as Naruto leapt through the air into the very circle in which Sasuke had been trapped. Oh no, she squeaked as Naruto and Sasuke began to argue about the former's decision. This made Naruto's timely arrival now thoroughly untimely. With both of them trapped and Kakashi engaging Zabuza. We're doomed, Hinata whispered, unaware that she was saying it out loud. Don't worry, Hinata, called Kakashi. Protect Tazuna-san, follow my orders, and everything will be okay. You can see through the mist now. You've come a long way. He used his kunai to swat several shuriken which had suddenly appeared out of the air. Stirred by Kakashi's words, she resumed focus, watching for movement. Watch your six, sensei. She yelled. Kakashi turned and for a brief second his hand crackled with energy as he swiped at Zabuza, who wasn't able to completely dodge the lightning blade and took a small blow to the shoulder before retreating. I've underestimated your brats, Kakashi, said Zabuza. I've underestimated you as well. To think that I would see the copy ninja's one and only original jutsu. I'm honored. Hinata's blood pumped rapidly from her success in assisting Kakashi. Maybe they would make it through this after all. I just have to believe in Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun. Kakashi-sensei. 3 o'clock, she called and Kakashi ducked the giant blade swing. While Kakashi's battle raged on in their favor, Naruto and Sasuke were not faring so well. Haku had stepped up his game, and even though Hinata had noticed a change in Sasuke's chakra flow, particularly around his eyes, they were only barely managing to dodge the deadly needles flying through the air. Hinata told herself that it would be okay, that all she had to do was concentrate on aiding Kakashi, even though she couldn't shake the feeling of familiarity that hit her whenever she focused on Haku's chakra. Until she saw Sasuke hit the floor, that is. Oh no. Sasuke had been the one dodging everything and had taken a load of needles for Naruto. Is Sasuke-kun? She focused further on his body and managed to catch a steady, though weakened chakra flow. Thank goodness, she thought in relief. She still worried about how Naruto would now handle the battle. She desperately wanted to go help him, but if she left Tazuna alone, Zabuza would surely kill him. She began shaking, her mind split between her duty and her desire to assist Naruto. Naruto's sudden change in chakra flow changed her mind. The color of his chakra changed dramatically, from a serene blue to a bright, blazing red, emanating from his abdomen. What is this? The chakra began manifesting itself physically above Naruto, forming the shape of an awful face, almost like a dog or even a fox. His numerous wounds instantly healed themselves. Hinata had never seen anything like it. It was as though he had two chakra sources, but that was impossible. She focused further on its source, trying to gauge its true nature, but the more she looked, the more she became frightened. Suddenly, as she gazed upon it, she felt it look back at her. A horrible sensation overwhelmed her. She felt as though a monster's claws were crushing her throat. She screamed, deactivating her Byakugan out of reflex, and the sensation dissipated. Kakashi, having apparently noticed Naruto's chakra as well, had brought out a scroll and drew a line of his blood on it, intending to swiftly end the fight with Zabuza. Hinata panted, still shaking from the fear. The sound of a hard impact and the sharp cracking of some object snapped her out of it, and the feeling of the demonic chakra vanished. Her worry for Naruto returned to her and she reactivated her Byakugan. Naruto's chakra had returned to normal and her nerves relaxed. Just then, the feeling of familiarity from earlier made sense to her. Since Haku had stopped molding his ice-release chakra, Hinata could analyze his chakra. She recognized it as the chakra of the boy she had met briefly while searching for Naruto. As Hinata tried to comprehend what she had witnessed, Kakashi called, "Hinata. Thanks for your help, but I'm ending this now." Kuchiyos. Doden. Suiga no Jutsu, summoning. Earth release, tracking Fang technique. He planted his hands in the ground and next to Zabuza the Ninken erupted from the earth, each one clamping their jaws around one of his body parts. That's what happens when you have your eyes closed in the mist, Kakashi explained. This summoning is especially useful for tracking down an enemy. Thanks to Hinata, I was able to mark you early on in the battle with a special seal. Zabuza looked towards where Kakashi had swiped him. It had been a minor wound, so Zabuza had dismissed it, but there it was, a seal hidden amongst the scratches on the flesh. He let out a bitter chuckle. I truly did underestimate your brats, he muttered. The seal emits their favorite scent, imperceptible to most humans. These dogs' noses are more powerful than any other. You're trapped in my jutsu. Kakashi focused his Sharingan on Zabuza. The mist has cleared. Your future is death. Lightning blade in hand, he rushed towards Zabuza. Hinata felt a troubling mix of emotions as she and her team stood at Haku and Zabuza's graves, 2 weeks later. After all their struggles, the end had been so abrupt, yet so intense. At once, Hinata was happy that they had won the battle and that the village and Team 7 was safe. Yet after everything Haku and Zabuza had said about being shinobi, Kakashi-sensei, she piped up, frowning as she faced the ground. Were these two right about being shinobi? A shinobi isn't supposed to pursue his own goals. Becoming the country's tool is the most important. It's the same for Konoha, Kakashi answered. Is that what it really means to become a ninja? Said Naruto, bitter expression upon his face. You know what? I don't like it. You think so too, said Sasuke. Well, each and every ninja has to live their lives dealing with that issue, just like Zabuza and this boy, Kakashi explained. Okay, I just decided. I'm going to be a ninja in my own way, declared Naruto. Kakashi and Hinata smiled. After they said their goodbyes to Tazuna, Tsunami and Inari, Team 7 departed from the village. Yay! Let's get home fast so I can have Iruka-sensei treat me to ramen. Oh yeah, and I totally have to tell Konohamaru of my legendary feats. Can I come along? Asked Hinata timidly. Sure. You can help me tell the story. Naruto replied enthusiastic. Her heart swelled and she smiled. We should do another A-rank mission, he told Kakashi. Hinata stumbled a bit at the prospect. No, said Kakashi. Zabuza and Haku, it's a miracle that we all survived a battle at that level. Naruto let out a noise of disappointment. Well, you can do another A-rank mission when you train and get stronger. Naruto hemmed in thought. Well, I wanna do that, but first I've gotta find the strength to fight for the things I want to protect. At Kakashi's confused look, he explained, just like Haku said, when people want to protect something, they can become as strong as they need to be. I see, said Kakashi after a pause. So you think that way as well, then? Yeah, I realized it after seeing Zabuza and Haku. Me too, Hinata said quietly. I want to become strong so I can protect what's important to me. Kakashi smiled. I'm proud of you guys, he said, generating expressions of surprise on Naruto and Hinata's face. After a few more minutes of walking, Hinata said, it's strange, but, saying goodbye to Zabuza and Haku, it feels like we're leaving some friends behind. You too, Hinata, said Naruto, to her surprise. Even if they were our enemies, I really like them. He turned to Kakashi. Is that weird? Kakashi chuckled, shaking his head. No, he said. I like them too. Eventually, they returned to the village and Kakashi separated from them to deliver their report. Soon after, Sasuke and Naruto exchanged awkward looks before the former left with a wave and a minor goodbye. Hinata's heart pumped harder as she was left alone with Naruto. Well, I'd be better get going, she said awkwardly. Naruto murmured a noise of confirmation. Stupid. No. This is your chance to be with him for a while and you're blowing it. Naruto-kun. Yeah, are you feeling okay? What do you mean? I mean, do you know what happened with that awful chakra that overtook you when you thought Sasuke-kun was dead? She desperately wanted to ask. The question had been weighing on her mind for the last 2 weeks. I mean, do your wounds from the battle still hurt? Coward. Naruto shook his head. Nope. After a good night's sleep, I always feel great in the morning. Plus, your medicine's been a real help. He smiled at her. You know, Hinata, when you and I were put on the same team, I thought. What? She asked, barely hiding her eagerness to hear his answer. I thought you'd be a complete drag and that I'd never have any fun. Hinata's heart stopped for a second. But after this mission, I'm really glad you're on Team 7. He said cheerfully, patting her on the shoulder. The weight of his hand felt like 1,000,000 tons and she was surprised that she did not immediately collapse. Her heart resumed its beat, 1,000 times its original pace. Don't just stand there, stupid. Say something. Thank you, she managed weakly. No problem. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. See you later. He waved over his head and ran off towards his apartment. A good 20 minutes passed before Hinata was able to move. Naruto-kun, Why did you want to meet with me? Asked Hinata. She didn't quite know where she was. Well, you really helped me with my training in the Wave Country, so I thought we could train some more together, said Naruto. Oh, of course, said Hinata, smiling. I'd be glad to help. Plus, I just want to spend some more time with you, he added softly. Naruto-kun. Hinata. He moved towards her, arms outstretched, ready to embrace her. She felt her pulse quicken. Closing her eyes, she leaned into it, letting herself be swept up by his arms. Oh, Naruto-kun, she said. But instead of his hands wrapped around her, she felt two sets of claws digging into her back. Naruto-kun. Her eyes opened. It was not Naruto holding her, at least, not the Naruto she knew. It was a horrible fox demon, covered in flames, grinning maliciously at her. Naruto isn't here, the demon growled. It's just me now. Hinata practically jumped out of bed as she woke from the dream. She was covered in sweat and hyperventilating. It had all seemed so real. She still shook from the remnants of terror. She couldn't shake that feeling, that terrible feeling that had overtaken her when she had tried to look to the source of the red chakra all those weeks ago. It had looked at her. It was alive. But it didn't make any sense and Naruto didn't seem to know anything about it. Maybe Kakashi-sensei knows what it was, she thought. He seemed to take notice of it too, after all. She decided that she would talk to him about it in the morning and attempted to go back to sleep. This attempt would prove to be a failure. If you want me to stop making you look bad, said Sasuke, then just get stronger than me. Tensions ran high in Team 7, Hinata thought as she awkwardly watched Naruto and Sasuke glare at each other. Maybe we should all just take a deep breath, she suggested, forcing a smile. Neither of them listened. The sense of accomplishment gained from completing their A-rank mission had subsided rather quickly. Instead of being invigorated by their team's success as Hinata thought might happen, the team, meaning Naruto and Sasuke, had begun falling to infighting more and more. While it was true the boys weren't exactly best friends despite Hinata's best efforts to make the team run smoothly, after these past few missions they were constantly at each other's throats. To make things worse, every time she tried to ask Kakashi about the red chakra she'd observed from Naruto, he would brush it off or make up an excuse and leave. Still, it doesn't hurt to try. Kakashi-sensei, I've been meaning to ask you, she began. Kakashi, turning his head up at something unseen by the others, cut her off. That's it for today. I have to go submit this mission report. Then I'm going home, said Sasuke, turning to leave. Kakashi-sensei, wait. Hinata reached out to Kakashi, but he had already disappeared. She sighed. Why does that always happen? Is he avoiding me, or is it just a coincidence? She turned to Naruto, who was preoccupied with a box on the ground. What kind of rock is squares with two holes in it? He accused the box. I see right through that. 3 children climbed out from under the box. That's the man I view as my rival, said Konohamaru, arms crossed. The 3 kids discussed playing ninja with Naruto, which amused Hinata slightly. A ninja playing ninja, Naruto-kun? She asked, chuckling. Well, it's not like that, he said, scratching his head, embarrassed. Hey bro, who's this girl? Konohamaru yelled excitedly, pointing a finger at Hinata. He analyzed her expression for a moment before planting his fist in his palm, clarity appearing on his face. Not bad, bro, he said not too quietly to Naruto, who looked confused. She's your. He held up his pinky finger. This. Hinata's face erupted into complete redness. Sweat poured down her face. Dizziness overtook her. Me, and Naruto-kun. She stammered. That's it's I. Naruto laughed. Oh, that, nah, Hinata and I are just friends. Right, Hinata? The world stopped spinning around Hinata. Her face blanched. The words, just friends, bounced around in her skull. Yes, she muttered tonelessly. That's right. Konohamaru shrugged. Oh, that's a shame. She's pretty, boss. Excuse me, said a voice behind them. Might you be Konoha Genin? The turn to see two people. A boy dressed in all black wearing makeup and a blonde girl holding what appeared to be a giant fan. What's it to you, ugly? Said Konohamaru. Kankuro smiled. Well, I just thought we'd have some fun before our leader arrives. Hey guys, said Kakashi the next day from above a lamppost. Today, I got lost on the road of life. Liar. Naruto accused, enraged. Hinata tried to hide her ever-growing dislike of Kakashi's tardiness. Anyway, Kakashi proceeded, glossing over Naruto's anger, this is sudden, but I've nominated you guys for the Chunin exam. You think that makes up for it? Naruto continued. Here are your applications, Kakashi said, offering them each a pamphlet. Kakashi-sensei, you're the best. Naruto squealed, latching onto Kakashi, who was visibly uncomfortable. Hey, stop. Let go, said Kakashi, trying to wriggle Naruto off. After succeeding, he added, this is just a nomination. Whether you take the exam is up to you. Those who wish to take the exam, sign those papers and turn them into room 301 by no later than 4 in the afternoon tomorrow. That's all. With that, he vanished, leaving the team to contemplate the possibility of the exam. Naruto giggled with glee as he examined the application. There's gonna be lots of strong guys in this thing. Like that guy from before. His smile suddenly evaporated as he scowled and Hinata could tell he was thinking that Sasuke, too, was one of the strong guys with whom he would have to compete. To her surprise, however, Sasuke began grinning. Is he excited to fight strong people? She wondered and began thinking of what she would do with this exam. Could I become a Chunin? Naruto-kun is right. There are bound to be plenty of strong people. She looked at Naruto and Sasuke, remembered their united training, and smiled. I've become stronger too. I could see through the mist. Maybe even I could do it. She clenched her fist. I'll do it too. Tomorrow, Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun and I will take that test. Eventually, the group split and each member went their separate ways. Hinata entered the Hyuga complex, greeting Ko pleasantly before heading towards her quarters. On the way, she encountered her cousin Neji in a hallway. A sense of nervousness suddenly took her over as he looked in her eyes. Hello, Hinata-sama, he uttered, bowing. Hello, Neji-nisan, she replied, returning his bow and trying her best to appear calm and cool. He glanced at the pamphlet in her hand. Is that the Chunin exam application? He asked, already knowing the answer. Huh, oh, why yes, she replied. Kakashi-sensei nominated my team. I think I'm going to take the test. An awkward moment passed. Ah, said Neji plainly. Hinata's shoulders relaxed until he continued. Well, far be it from me to tell the main house what to do, but I do not think it is a good idea for you to take this exam, Hinata-sama. Why is that? She asked after a moment. Isn't it obvious? Said Neji. You aren't really cut out for it. Hinata felt stricken. Hinata-sama, there will be many strong shinobi from all over the world at this exam. Do you think you can honestly best all of them? I might do okay, she muttered, unable to look him in the eye. Let's not fool ourselves, Hinata-sama. I'm just looking out for your best interests. You'll get hurt. After all, I will be taking part in this exam. His voice took a deeper tone. I do not want you to have to fight me. She noted his specific wording as she stood there, unable to reply. Please. For both our sakes. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Suddenly, Ko entered the hall and said, Neji, you're needed in the West Training Hall. Oh, Hinata-sama, excuse me. I thought you'd gone to your room. Neji nodded. I'll be on my way, he said as he began to leave. He turned his head towards Hinata. Consider what I've said, Hinata-sama. Make the right decision. Hinata continued on her way, breathing harder with every step. Once she was out of Ko's line of sight, she sprinted away towards her room, entered, slammed the door shut and flopped on the bed. Minutes, maybe hours, she wasn't sure, passed as she stared up at the ceiling, expressionless. I was doing so well, she thought. Her eyes began to sting. I thought I was becoming strong. She clutched the application in one shaking fist, planted her face in a pillow, and for the first time in months, wept and wept and wept until sleep took her. Hinata awoke the next morning in the clothes she'd worn the previous day. A bit of ink from the application stained her palms. She stood up and looked in the mirror. Her cheeks were red and puffy. She breathed deep, trying to organize her thoughts. She felt like she was moving through syrup. The only upside to the past night was that she'd had a dreamless sleep, no doubt due to emotional exhaustion, so the nightmare of Naruto's red chakra hadn't returned. I should just stay home today, she thought. Her eyes passed by the picture of Team 7 on her bedside table. I guess should tell them in person. Slowly, she made her way to the Chunin exam entrance building where Naruto and Sasuke were waiting. There you are, said Naruto, eagerness plain on his face. Let's go in. He gestured and began to turn. Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, she muttered. What is it? Come on. It's already 3:30. I'm not taking the exam. She blurted, heart pounding. Her body had completely tensed up. Naruto looked at her wide-eyed, frowning. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. Why? Asked Naruto. I'm not cut out for this, she repeated Neji's words, staring at the floor. I barely did anything when we were in the wave country. I'm better off staying as a genin. Hinata, said Sasuke. Without your assistance, we wouldn't have gotten as far as we could have in our training. Yeah, and without your medicine, we would have been hurt a lot more. Naruto agreed, nodding. Hinata blushed. You guys. Come on, said Sasuke, shining a rare grin. We'll need your skills to get through this. With my Sharingan and your Byakugan, we'll be unstoppable. Let's take this exam. Together. As Team 7, Naruto said, fist raised. Despite her best efforts to the contrary, Hinata found herself smiling. Relaxing her shoulders, she stepped forward. The three entered the exam building, finding the door to the registration area blocked by two genin. We're just weeding out the failures, said one of the genin to those surrounding. Is that so wrong? I agree, said Sasuke, but you're going to let us through and dispel the genjutsu surrounding this place. I'm going to the 3rd floor. So you noticed, said the other genin. Hinata. Sasuke tilted his head in her direction. Hinata was a step ahead. Her Byakugan was already active. This is the 2nd floor, she said, grinning. Yup. Agreed Naruto. Not bad, said the first genin. But all you did was see through it. He aimed a kick at Sasuke, who prepared to retaliate, but both were blocked instantly by a boy in an all-green bodysuit. Sasuke looked surprised. Hinata, however, recognized the boy. Lee-kun, she said. You know this bushy brows? Said Naruto. After releasing the kicks he'd blocked, Lee looked at Hinata, smiling. Ah, Hinata-san. Good to see you. Turning to Naruto, he said, yes. I am on the same genin team as Hinata-san's. Lee, said Neji, stepping forward. That's enough. Let's get going. He focused on Hinata. Hinata-sama. Surprising to see you here. Hinata did not back down from his gaze. I'll see you in the exam room, Neji-Nisan, she said, stalwart. Nissan, wondered Naruto, glancing back and forth between the two cousins. After a moment, Neji began to leave, his teammates tagging along after him. Let's go, Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, said Hinata, and the three of them started making their way towards the exam room. One challenge humiliation from Lee, a grueling written exam and an attempted assault from a rain shinobi later, Team 7 sat in the forest of death contemplating their next strategy, deciding that a password would be the best bet. Everyone but Hinata had been surprised when Lee had made a fool of Sasuke, but Hinata knew, he was almost good enough to fight Neji. It was true Sasuke was strong for his age and experience, but Lee had a full year on them. What had been a total surprise, on the other hand, was Naruto's sudden declaration that he'd never give up, regardless of what the mysterious 10th question held for them. Of course, Hinata offered to let him cheat on the exam, but Naruto figured he'd get caught if he tried. Still, she couldn't help but find his speech inspirational. Even now, she didn't feel that scared of the horrible death-giving forest that surrounded them. Without warning, a tremendous gust of wind sent the group flying, scattering them. Sasuke managed to find Hinata first. Hold it right there, said Sasuke, brandishing a kunai. Password first. Hinata recited it and Sasuke relaxed. Suddenly, Naruto stumbled towards them. OWW, are you guys alright? He said. Naruto, say th, began Sasuke, but before he could finish, Hinata ran forward and embraced Naruto. Thank goodness you're okay, Naruto-kun. Hinata cried, holding Naruto close. For a moment, Sasuke was too stunned by this uncharacteristic display to say anything. Hinata, get away from him. He yelled. We don't know that that's really Naruto. Don't worry, Sasuke-kun, said Hinata, pulling back from Naruto while keeping one arm on his shoulder. She placed a hand gently on his abdomen. I can tell you with 100% certainty. Suddenly, Naruto's eyes widened as he doubled over, as if suddenly struck very hard in the stomach. Sasuke noted a slight trail of chakra emanating from her now stiffened palm. That this is definitely not Naruto-kun. Hinata finished. The fake Naruto coughed up blood before licking it from his lips with a much too long tongue. How? He asked, grinning maliciously. Your Byakugan isn't. Hinata weaved a sign and a puff of smoke signified the release of her transformation, revealing her active Byakugan. The fake Naruto chuckled. His disguise disappeared, revealing the creepy grass ninja from before. Well done, little princess. But I'm afraid your part here has ended. Where is the real Naruto-kun? She demanded, and in her eyes Sasuke saw, for the first time, focused rage. Oh, just over at a friend of mine's for dinner, said the grass ninja, holding up his scroll. You want my earth scroll, right? Since you have the heaven scroll. Grabbing hold of it with his elongated tongue, he swallowed his scroll whole. Now, let's begin the battle for our scrolls, with our lives on the line. He pulled down on his eyelid and suddenly Hinata was overcome with the sensation of being brutally murdered. This isn't genjutsu, she thought through panicked breaths, trying to focus her Byakugan. She glanced at Sasuke, who seemed to be suffering a similar fate. Come on, move. Her body wouldn't respond. Now your bodies won't move, said the grass ninja, readying two kunai. Move. With the last of her strength, she planted her palm into her thigh and sent a bit of chakra into her leg. The pain was enough to jolt her senses and she leapt out of the way. Sasuke followed suit, jamming a knife into his leg. As he landed, he pulled the knife out, wincing in pain. Hinata, meanwhile, searched for Naruto, unable to find his chakra. Where is he? Her thoughts began to race. Unbeknownst to her, Naruto's chakra was being blocked from sight by the chakra of a snake, specifically its innards. Just then, Hinata noticed a snake behind her. She shrieked and she and Sasuke dodged away. The snake seemed intent on pursuing him, however, and he screamed as he ventilated it with shuriken. "You guys shouldn't relax for even a moment," said the grass ninja, emerging from the snake's carcass. "Prey should always flee in the presence of a predator." He seemed like he was about to continue before a wave of shuriken forced him to dodge. All three of them looked to the thrower, Uzumaki Naruto. "Sorry, Sasuke," said Naruto. "I forgot the stupid password." "Naruto-kun," squealed Hinata, and an iota of relief washed over her. "Looks like you successfully defeated that giant snake, Naruto-kun," said the grass ninja, slithering along a tree. Hey, Naruto replied, "Looks like you're just picking on the weak." Deactivating his Sharingan, Sasuke held up the scroll. "I'll give this to you. Take it and leave us. Please." "What?" Hinata said. This was very much unlike Sasuke. "Sasuke, what the hell are you talking about?" yelled Naruto, pointing an accusing finger. "Why would you give the scroll to the enemy?" "I see," said the grass ninja. "Very smart. The only way for prey to escape a predator is to give them a different meal." "Take it," said Sasuke, tossing the scroll. Naruto moved to intercept. "You stupid bastard. What are you doing? Do you understand the situation?" Naruto suddenly decked Sasuke as hard as he could, to Hinata's surprise. "What the hell was that?" Sasuke said, outraged as he picked himself up. "I forgot the password so I can't test it," said Naruto. "But you're a fake Sasuke, aren't you?" Hinata double-took. Could it be? She re-examined Sasuke's chakra. "No, it's the same color as before." "You colossal idiot," said Sasuke. "It's the real me." "Liar," accused Naruto. "There's no way such a stupid coward like you is the Sasuke I know. I don't know how strong this guy is, but what guarantee is there that he'll let us go if we just give up the scroll? You're the one who's so freaked out he can't comprehend the situation." The grass ninja laughed. "Correct, Naruto-kun," he said, slathering his wrist with his blood. "After all, I can simply kill you and take the scroll." "Shut up," roared Naruto, charging him. "No, run away, Naruto," called Sasuke. Hinata couldn't believe it. She'd never imagined that Sasuke would tell anyone to run away out of fear. "Kuchio's no jutsu, summoning technique," said the grass ninja, and a tremendous snake appeared underneath him, swatting Naruto away. "Naruto-kun," Hinata cried as the snake began to crush Naruto. "Go ahead and eat him," said the grass ninja sadistically. Hinata couldn't sit by anymore. She prepared to leap into action, but as she readied herself, Naruto suddenly kicked the snake with such force that its mouth slammed shut. "Eat shit," he yelled. "Naruto-kun, so strong." Hinata remarked mentally, but just then, her Byakugan caught sight of the color of Naruto's chakra, red, blazing, blood red. She froze, again paralyzed by fear. What will he do? Did he attack Haku last time because he was his enemy, or because he was the only standing thing around them? Her thoughts were interrupted by the grass ninja swiftly riding the snake towards Sasuke. "It's your turn now, Sasuke-kun," he said gleefully before being stopped dead in his tracks by Naruto, who had suddenly revived. "Hey," said Naruto, panting as he looked at Sasuke. "Did you get hurt, Chicken-kun?" From behind, the snake's tail coiled around Naruto, lifting him into the air. "Damn it! Let go of me." "So, the Nine-Tails brat is still alive," said the grass ninja, weaving a sign. Something moved in Hinata, pushing the terror aside to take control of her mind. "Naruto-kun is in danger," she thought as the fear relinquished her. She jumped at the grass ninja, hurling shuriken and kunai at him. It doesn't matter what color his chakra is, Naruto-kun is Naruto-kun and he is putting his life on the line for us. The grass ninja blocked and dodged her attacks effortlessly, but it distracted him enough for Hinata to grab Naruto and pull him from the snake's clutches. As she did so, however, the grass ninja pulled a short sword from his throat and threw it at them. Hinata managed to dodge, but Naruto was grazed along the cheek, giving him a cut to match his other one. That ought to keep him out of the fight for now, said the grass ninja. As Hinata laid Naruto down, she saw what the grass ninja meant. Naruto's strangely red pupils were dilating. His chakra flow was erratic. He's been poisoned. This is all my fault, she told herself and turned back to the battle, fist clenched. Once more, rushed at the grass ninja, who easily repelled her, knocking her away. You're 100 years too young to fight me, dear, he said, and the condescension in his voice stoked the flame of Hinata's anger. Sasuke-kun, she called, rebounding off of a tree, ready to fight again. Please, Naruto-kun is hurt. I need your help. At last, Sasuke snapped out of it. Sharingan reactivated, he flew into the air, throwing kunai at the grass ninja, who dodged effortlessly before being trapped by Sasuke's wires. Kaden. Ryuka no Jutsu, Fire Release. Dragon Fire Technique. Sasuke roared, igniting the wires and immolating the grass ninja. The grass ninja's face melted, revealing what appeared to be a second skin underneath. To be able to use the Sharingan this well at your young age, he began. Now, Sasuke called. Hinata sprang up behind the grass ninja from underneath the tree, thrusting her palm into his spine. A look of actual shock overtook his face. The fire was a distraction, he said, stumbling as Hinata retreated. The shock faded from his expression, replaced with smug satisfaction. To think you thought that far ahead. You really are a genius with Uchiha blood. You've much more power hidden than Itachi, Sasuke-kun. Who are you? Roared Sasuke, glaring at the grass ninja. The grass ninja began immolating the scroll. My name is Orochimaru. If you wish to see me again, defeat the 3 sound ninja under my command. Suddenly, his neck extended as he lunged at Sasuke, biting him on the throat. Sasuke-kun will seek me for power, said Orochimaru as Sasuke doubled over, groaning in agony. What did you do? Asked Hinata. I gave him a going-away present, said Orochimaru, sinking into the tree. Sasuke continued to moan in pain. What do I do? Hinata wondered, panic rising in her chest. Naruto-kun is poisoned, Sasuke-kun is hurt. I can't do this. I can't. A loud scream from Sasuke snapped her out of her daze. I have to do this. I need to protect them both. Hinata sat on her knees, slowly rocking back and forth without knowing it. Exhaustion threatened to incapacitate her. She'd been awake for an unknown number of hours. All she knew was that it was the dead of night, Byakugan active the whole time. Even the tiny amount of chakra sustaining it required had begun heavily chipping away at her stamina by keeping it active the whole time. Worry for her teammates kept her awake. She had done all she could to patch them up. She'd gone through an entire container of her medicine covering their wounds. She didn't know whether it would do any good. Naruto's poison seemed only paralytic, not lethal, and she had no idea what the mark on Sasuke's neck was doing to him other than irritating his chakra flow like she'd never seen. It was as if that Orochimaru's chakra was invading his, corrupting it. Looking at it made her feel more disgust than even Naruto's red chakra. That red chakra. She contemplated it. Orochimaru had said something. He'd called Naruto, the Nine-Tails brat, and had said that the red chakra came out when Naruto was in danger to give him strength. This information only confused Hinata more. What exactly was this Nine-Tails? Where did that red chakra come from? She resolved to hound Kakashi until he gave her a direct answer, no matter what it took, once they got out of here. If we get out of here, she thought grimly. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, she whispered. This is all my fault. She felt tears rising. NNH, Naruto stirred. Hinata snapped to attention. Naruto-kun. His eyes slowly blinked open. G-morning, he muttered, lifting his head up. Hinata, is that you? Naruto-kun. The feeling of tears returned, this time out of relief. You're okay. You're okay. Thank goodness. She leaned forward, wrapping her arms tight around Naruto's neck. Thank goodness. Hinata, that kinda hurts, he groaned. Hinata relinquished him as if dropping hot coal. Sorry, she squeaked. With a bit of struggle, Naruto managed to sit up. Hinata noticed that his pallor seemed to improve by the second. What happened? He asked, stretching. Orochimaru, that grass ninja, he poisoned you because I dodged his knife and it hit you, and then Sasuke-kun and I fought him for a bit and we thought we'd beaten him, but then his face melted off and he bit Sasuke-kun on the neck and gave him that weird mark, and Sasuke-kun collapsed in pain and he's got a fever now and his chakra is disrupted, but I've been keeping watch over you two so no one's been able to attack us, and I'm really sorry that you got poisoned by me. I understand if you hate me for it, but I was just trying to help. So you were protecting us, Naruto said, cutting off her desperate babble. He smiled. Thanks, Hinata. We'd be totally screwed without you. For the first time since they'd entered the forest, Hinata felt herself relax. The energy drained out of her and she fell backwards, unconscious but smiling. Some time later, Hinata awoke. Naruto's jacket was draped over her again. She sat straight up. Naruto-kun. She spotted him near her, fanning the flames of a bonfire he'd made. A pile of fish on a makeshift stone plate sat next to him along with a bucket of water hewn from what looked like a hollow tree stump and rope. Sasuke was lying a few feet away. Oh, you're awake, he said pleasantly, turning to her. I had some cage bunshin go and get us some firewood. I also had him catch some fish for us. It took a while to make, since Sasuke's out and the fish are pretty crunchy, but I did my best.